And there are many people who went home to lunch just to listen to the talk on the block. We're gonna do this. I will come back.
Dominica revolves at AC Shillingford and Company. For timeless, trusted, dependable, comprehensive insurance coverage, it has to be New India Insurance. Need anything overseas? Shopbox Dominica Isle of Freight is your advance on-time delivery right to your doorstep. For super savings on all your groceries, come to ACS Super Shopping Center for laundry, groceries, cooking, beverages, and event supplies on King Jonathan Street. ACS 7-Eleven on High Street, supplying your everyday essentials. Fill up your vehicle gas tanks, get your cooking gas, and top-ups of all kinds. Or go to 7-Eleven Portersville, where the best-kept secret is conveniently located upstairs in the confidential escape or staycation self-contained accommodations at the Porter's Place. AC Shillingford, where you spend less and get more.
Turn to stand for their wash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me.
Dominica, it's your turn to stand for their wash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it.
Dominica, it's your turn to stand for their wash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it, brother. I have no fear of nothing, no one at all.
Don't allow the authorities to destroy nature, the rivers, the mountain, the nature isle.
Don't call and complain about Dominicans not standing up. Where are you?
Make the call, save their wash.
It's not a war against the people, it's a war against wicked principalities in high and low places.
They're taking it to the next level. The courts, call and make your contribution to save their wash this Friday, 1 to 3. Make that call, save their wash. Voila! The UPP is coming your way this Thursday. A grand public meeting. Join the political leader, Joshua Francis, and the top executive members. Speak about your future, the vision for the nature island of Dominica, job creation and electoral reform. Make Dominica great again. March 19th, next to Mr. Hayden Sharp. See your face in the place, the UPP in Warner, March 19th, 7 p.m. See you there.
Dominica, get ready for the massive UWP General National Meeting in Lyon, Saturday, March 21st. A massive crowd of patriotic Dominicans will gather to hear and to be informed of the state of the estate of Dominica. Team Dominica, the United Workers' Party, and thousands of dedicated supporters. Cost of living in Dominica is suffocating. Saturday, March 21st. Join the United Workers' Party. The silent majority is ready. From the north, the south, the east, and the west, with an impactful lineup revealing shocking revelations. Stand with confidence for liberation and salvation. People in Dominica are frustrated, disappointed, even betrayed. You are not alone. The masses will convert in line Saturday, March 21. Come and join the crowd. Be part of history with the UWP, the United Workers' Party. Power must change hands. This election cycle, it's all the way with the United Workers' Party. Surprising revelations.
Just remember been for too long, but making no more. KFC. KFC. Looking for some place to go. Variety meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
Need one trusted place to stock up for your home, shop, or business? Fine Foods Inc. Distribution has got you covered. From dry goods and frozen foods to your favorite drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, plus all the household must-have. We've got it all under one roof. We're right here in Jimmy Dominica, and yet we deliver. Whether you're running a supermarket, a corner shop, a bar, or just like your pantry full and happy, Fine Foods Inc. brings you the best brands you know and love. Great prices, top-tier service, trusted products. At 255-6810 or 316-0164. Or drop by our Jimmy location to check out what's in store. Fine Foods Inc.
Fine Foods Inc. The biggest distributor for the biggest brand.
This afternoon, we're going to continue the discuss we had about the crisis in Cuba. Those defending Cuba Some people said Cuba need change. And the question at this time is CARICOM Dominica doing enough for the Cuban regime that supported Dominica for so many years? It is felt that Caribbean governments are very silent. Can we help save this island? This morning I reached out to a former graduate, now dentist, trained in Cuba, Dr. Damian Dublin. Damian Dublin.
Really, I just want to say that the situation in Cuba is critical. We all know the reasons. 60 plus years of economic and trade embargo. I mean, it's just worrying the impact it has had, and even more stringent measures. And recently, just the fact that I think what they're trying to do is just to strangle Cuba, cut off all possible means of income, energy sources, and then hope they can stir up an internal confusion and protest that could lead to probably a change in the government. And I want to say, as a proud graduate of Cuba from 1987, I mean, Cuba has been good to us, good to Dominica, good to the world. I mean, Cuba has just been good to the world. I mean, just quickly, we have to recognize the role of Cuba in the liberation of South Africa, where they actually send soldiers in Angola and these places to, to defeat apartheid and set up a chain of reaction in the liberation movement. We know of Cuba's role in the immediate Caribbean. I mean, all the islands have students who have graduated and are making tremendous contribution to their, to the health system and all other areas. As far as Africa, I'll tell you, I met students in Cuba from maybe so many different countries from Africa who were orphaned. I mean, victims of war, their parents dead, and Cuba accepted them. Some of them went primary, secondary, university, graduated, and then went on their way. So Cuba has been good to the world, and I really want to condemn this recent acts of aggression against Cuba. Cuba is not a threat to the United States. It is not. I really don't see why. But the reality is the good thing is that a lot of countries are responding. I mean, there are people from all over Canada, Mexico, all these countries are stepping forward to help.
But a former student, a name I will not declare, of course, exposed. He says CARICOM, Russia, China, and I see Russia trying to send two tankers there. So although the international community have betrayed the Cuban people, it's sad. Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't say they are betrayed. I think they are trying to help. Some, like China, is helping in its way. They're providing solar panels and helping to build the solar farms which are started. So they're helping. Canada is helping. Even individual citizens within Canada are putting together. In fact, there is a convoy, they call it an international convoy of different organizations and countries coming together to bring relief. I think they should be on their way. Mexico has sent. So I don't think they are betrayed. It's just that it's making it's difficult because the thing is, whichever country would want to help America, watching them and probably might profess of sanctions. So some have been very cautious not to go directly, but the response is tremendous. Locally, we have an account. The number is 115003319. That's in the name of the Guild of Graduates. It's at MBD. So people could contribute directly to that fund, and we'll find ways to get the monies up. I need to commend the parents of the students here who have been successful in sending containers, at least 2 or 3, to Cuba to their children, to the students. I mean, they have it against tremendous odds. I mean, they are persistent. In fact, they just got one recently. It takes time. It's a few months, but eventually they succeed. The ambassador is doing what he can to facilitate the process. The Cuban ambassador here, we in touch with him. He's trying his best to see how we can.
As a matter of fact, I did reach out to him this morning, and he said, Matt, yes, we're facing difficult situation, but my country is functional, and we're taking care of the challenges. So he seemed like an optimistic, besides the challenges, an optimistic ambassador.
I agree with him. He should be optimistic because Cuba survived 60 plus years. I mean, just imagine a country surviving 60 plus years of economic and trade embargo from a mighty neighbor. Havana is just 90 miles from Miami. So you have a population of 11 million people. If you take a different approach, you delete them, you know the amount of benefits for both countries in terms of trade. There are a lot of Americans who was willing to just be able to go there, invest, and do what they have to do. When Obama tried to normalize relations, I mean, people were just, it was very different, but the new president came, he tried to overturn everything. But it is what it is, Matt. The situation is crucial, but we are optimistic that Cuba will survive and do what it has to do.
Well, yes, sir, but thank you for the interview. I tried reaching out to our own ambassador there, Mr. Ian Douglas, who seemed to have, different. He just said that the students are doing fine, but declined an interview. That's for him. But I want to say thank you. And the Cuban ambassador to Cuba, Dominican Cuban ambassador, is very willing to speak and, of course, speak to the situation. So I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Dublin, for, of course, reaching out and, trying to see just what is happening there, and any information as it relates to our students and how they're affected.
115003319. That's the account at NBD. So anybody willing to contribute, because as you know, it's difficult from our end to get items and so on to good. So we figure maybe the cash might be the best thing. We can get it through the embassy, and they will know how to get it across. So we figured that is the best way.
Have you had a chance to speak with the foreign minister? I'm trying to get him this morning in terms of, what Dominica per se is doing for Cuba.
Well, I would say the government has always expressed solidarity with Cuba in various forums. So these are important to maintain the narrative. Also at the United Nations. The interesting thing, Matt, is in the United Nations every year there is a vote where the majority of the countries, except maybe 2 or 3, have voted for the embargo to be lifted. And year that's happening. But the way United Nations is set up is that even though you pass the resolution, overwhelmingly, you still cannot enforce it. It's still up to the state that put it on.
But of course, we've heard Trump, and it appears, and many, of course, of his followers say that the dictatorship in Cuba must end. Hence, what's going on here. If we change the system of government, things will change in Cuba. Would you agree with this?
Well, what I'm saying, reform is an ongoing process. I won't say to change the system or the government. I think the Cubans are the ones who have to decide what form of government they want. I don't think anybody has the right, which is what has been happening in these times. Yeah, people want to decide, well, because they have their own system, that you should have the same system. You do what's working for you. You can't say Iran shouldn't have that system or wherever, or go to war because somebody has a different system and you want to enforce yours. And whereas within our own system now, which is supposed to be democratic, some of your practices are almost like dictatorship. So, so it's a lot of hypocrisy, I would say, when people try to force systems on other people. But let the Cubans decide whatever. I think I would say that they have to review the system carefully and see how best they can adapt to to ensure, that in terms of investments. But they have started recently very open to investments from Cubans out of Cuba. I just read.
But you'd be totally against an invasion into Cuba, though. I see Trump is indicating things like that, invading Cuba. So you would totally be against that.
Totally against. What I'm saying is Cuba is no threat to the United States. The United States would be better off having at least a better relationship with Cuba in terms of trade, because it's going to benefit both nations. I mean, the proximity so close. You have 11 million people already markets for your goods and your businesses. So I think you have to take a different approach rather than that aggressive. I want to, I want to impose my system, or I want to control your resources, like Venezuela. I want to come and control your oil, change your system. All of a sudden, the system in, now that you have the oil, the system in Venezuela seems to be okay because they don't talk about it anymore. It's strange, but that's what the world is. That's what we have to fight against. But we just have to remain strong and keep our solidarity with Cuba. They really need it at that time.
That was Dr. Damian Dublin, former student trained in Cuba, the dentist, Dr. Damian Dublin. Less than a few hours away ago, we heard this from Mr. Trump suggesting that taking Cuba as an island faces energy crisis.
Trump now has his sights set on Cuba. The president said Monday he could, quote, take the island amid an ongoing energy crisis, which has been exacerbated by the U.S. threatening tariffs on any country that sells or provides oil to Cuba. Yesterday, he suggested plans were already in motion.
Cuba right now is in very bad shape. They're talking to Marco, and we'll be doing something with Cuba very soon.
CBS News national correspondent Lilia Luciano joins us now. So the Cuban president said he would respond to any aggression from the U.S. with, quote, impregnable resistance. And you spoke with a democracy activist. I had to Google impregnable. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I Googled it in Spanish and English. Don't feel bad.
Impregnable? What is it?
I'm not even going to try.
Okay, all right. What did the activist you spoke with tell you?
Look, I talked to Rosa Maria Paya earlier today. She is the daughter of Osvaldo Paya, who was, according to human rights investigations, killed by the regime. She has been persecuted, prosecuted herself. She cannot go back to Cuba right now, but she continues her advocacy, founding an organization called Cuba Decide. Her advocacy is all about democracy in Cuba. And this is a mission that she has never stopped working towards. She tells me right now, we are on the cusp. This is the threshold of things to change. I asked her, as we heard from President Trump, where he has been saying things like, we might take Cuba. And she says, look, I'm not worried about that. We actually are working with global partners. We're working with Cubans in and outside of the island for what happens the day after. But I wanted to understand a little bit about what are those non-negotiables for advocates like her who are seeing this big opportunity because of the increased pressure because of the oil blockade and all of the pressure that the United States is putting on Cuba. This is what Rosa Maria told me. what do you, as a democracy activist, need to see happen immediately in Cuba?
When we talk about Cuba, we are talking about a total and radical change in the system, the liberation of all the political prisoners, the guarantees of all the fundamental human rights, and that is freedom of expression, association, the possibility to have private businesses, the respect for private property, the possibility from the people in the exile to return to their homeland. None of those conditions cost money. All those rights can be guaranteed overnight.
And that is such an important point. That's such an interesting point, that the situation for political prisoners, for civil rights, for human rights can change from one moment to the next. And that is what advocates like her are working on. I had asked her that question because, of course, we are seeing, and I was just in Venezuela last week. I came back from Venezuela. And as we talked about off camera, Lindsay, I was shocked to see just the patience that both the opposition and the people who support the regime are still holding. I mean, they're patient in terms of what's going to come. But when it comes to Cuba, I'm asking her, would you be okay with a Delcy type transition? And she said, absolutely not. We don't want to see any of the Castros. We don't want to see any of the generals, and nobody who's been in power there. We don't want to see them in power. We understand the transition, but these are the differences that we expect to see right away. I asked her, how did we get here? And she says, look, it is not just the embargo. It is not just the blockade. Cuba is in crisis because of the Cuban regime. But of course, she gives the credit to the Trump administration, to Marco Rubio, for getting to suffocate the economy in Cuba to this point, that the government, that the regime has no option but to negotiate. And she does seem to think that this is that very last point before we start seeing a shift, a change, and those negotiations to, as she says, hopefully lead to a democratic process, even if it takes a long time, as it might in Venezuela as well.
Is there hope for Cuba? You just heard Trump speaking about taking Cuba. Somebody's asking the question. So wait, Cuba had political prisoners. The opposition is being persecuted just like in Dominica. Another comment, I listened to you this morning with Dr. Dublin on the support for Cuba during these challenging times. I would like to add my voice in solidarity with Cuba for the assistance given to many from the developing world in improving themselves. While we cannot direct governments on decisions that is in the interest, but we are forever grateful to Cuba for supporting students from around the world in obtaining an education. We are in solidarity with the government and people of Cuba and know that they have persevered and overcome many challenges and until then continue to be a light to everyone. Regards. Jerome, good morning to you. Good afternoon. Let's go back to the telephone. I know you have your own comments on the possibility of regime change, as Trump is indicating there. Hello, talk to me. Good afternoon to you. This is a talk.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
But you know, dictators don't like dictators. They want their alone to be dictator. But there are some dictators that are afraid of the bigger dictator in America. Why they're not talking? Say something for Cuba. Thank you.
1:35. We are Moon Way at the 2 o'clock hour. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good. Matt, when we talk about Cuba, we cannot start to talk about, we must include the history of what's been going on in Cuba. You cannot just talk about Cuba as if Cuba just popped up yesterday and Trump decided he wanted it. This thing has been going on for 70 plus years. Why is it that they've been wanting Cuba for so long? And why do you think Cuba had to go towards the side of Russia? It was for their survival, because America wanted to take them, attempted to take them and failed. The Bay of Pigs. So we cannot talk about Cuba without talking about the history. And the fact that democracy comes up, that's a shield. That's a farce. You cannot talk about democracy that you want me to become democratic when you are trying to invade me. Because first of all, the hypocrisy in that is that how many monarchies are in the United Nations? If you go to those states where they get all the oil from, most of them are monarchies. They're kings. That's not democracy. So why is it you're using this thing about democracy as an excuse to invade me? And why is it that when I become a quote unquote communist, I align myself with Russia for my protection, because you put an embargo on me, and Russia was basically keeping me alive. And for 60, 70 years, I have survived and thrived. That is what they don't like, man. America does not like the idea that Cuba is still thriving. Things are rough, but they are alive and they are free from invasion for all these years.
So, what would you recommend for their continued survival? Because now Trump is saying, let's take Cuba, and some people are actually suggesting now we might see an invasion very soon.
Well, that's because these people don't know history, man. There may be an invasion, yes, but when you invade them, what are you going to do with them? Look at Puerto Rico. Since Maria, Puerto Rico is suffering. Trump has literally ignored Puerto Rico. I talk to Puerto Ricans all the time. Things are bad in Puerto Rico, and it's part of America. So you see, it's just a kind of a greed and a frenzy and a kind of power-hungry business going on. They believe they have to stamp their foot in every place. And then you have Marco Rubio, who may have some personal grudge against Cuba. Man, it's a complex situation. You cannot just isolate it with one little thing or the other, man. Enough said. Thank you.
All right. Now on the telephone. Hello, talk to me, yeah? Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, Matt, to you and your listeners.
How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. Matt, if Cuba is thriving so much, I would encourage a lot of these Dominicans that support what's going on to the Cuban people, their voices being silenced, and so we could go on and on. I would encourage them to go to Cuba and resign. Go over there and see what it's really like. Okay? And ask your PM, Matt. Ask the PM to make a donation, a large sum of donation to the Cuban government, because they assisted us for so long. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. On the telephone, 449-3095. Well, before we take another call, let's do this. An interesting program coming up there on Monday afternoon. Stick around.
South City Guambe. South City Guambe. South City Guambe. The repeat of the Global V1Q show of 12th March 2024 to commemorate the heroes of the Grand Bay Geneva Revolution, led by the infatigable UNICEF and others, will take place on Monday 23rd March at 1:15 p.m. on Q95 FM, the big station. Utan BMAC Medam. Monday 23rd March, 1:15 p.m. on the big station. Learn about the history of slave ownership on the Geneva Estate, the struggle of Grand Bay residents to get ownership of lands which had been occupied by the ancestors, and led to the liberation of the people of Grand Bay and the expansion of the village and community onto the Geneva estate. South City Guabe, South City Guabe, South City Guabe. Tune in on Monday, March 23rd at 1:15 p.m. to hear more about how it all happened, how with the brave leadership of UNICEF and others help securing ownership of the lands on the Geneva estate for Grand Bay residents whose forefathers had worked on the lands but denied ownership for decades. The Global View on Q, celebrating the heroes of the Grand Bay Geneva Revolution. Monday, 23rd March at 1:15 p.m. Only on Q95 FM, the big station. Matches.
All right, Dominica, we continue with the discussion. As somebody's indicating there, are we doing enough? Are we doing enough as country in CARICOM to assist our sister island Cuba, who has done so much for us? Hello, talk to me, yes?
Matt, this is Bernard Morrow.
Yes, sir.
I saw you at I saw you at PSU.
I did.
Yeah, but you did not stay for too long.
I was there until the end.
Okay, I did not notice that.
Okay.
But the government have habits of just saying they're talking on the behalf of the people, and most people is not satisfied with what they say, but they cannot get to it. It's like they interrogating the people and telling the people, we're going to do that and we're going to do that. Are you for? Are you for? They're just saying they're doing what they want, what the bloody want, and they're saying they do it on the people. But my brother, they have to make a survey between America and Cuba. As much as I love the Cubans, as much as I love the Americans, I hope they act in the people's interests. All right.
All right, caller, thank you. On the telephone, are you there? Yes? Oh, sorry about that. Are you there, caller? Sorry about that. 449, I did say that I spoke to the ambassador through text message, and he did say that they're going through some challenges, and I'm hoping to have a conversation with him on the situation there in Cuba. All right? So Mr. Ian Douglas just said, yes, the students are doing fine. When pressed further to have an interview, he declined. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Dr. Damian Dublin. On the telephone, I actually tried to reach out to the foreign minister. I've not gotten a response just yet. Hello, talk to me. Yeah? Are you there?
I'm there, Matt.
How are you doing?
Yeah, Matt. I'm not too bad, no, Matt. Matt, I'm listening to the conversation. And I mean, Cuba definitely has withstood the Americans, so many presidents over the years, right? Because with that blocking and other things. But it seems that President Trump is determined. He don't mind whether he kill everybody in Cuba, but just to get rid of the system there. So I am saying, yes, when you get rid of the system, so you put in so much pressure that you don't mind the same people you're trying to get out of the system, you're going to kill them in the process. Now, what is happening in Cuba is unacceptable, you know, man. I mean, when I listen to Al Jazeera and the kind of things there, sewage problem, electricity problem, and all kind of problem, food problem, man, you cannot destroy a whole nation just because you want to change the system. That's not right, man. That's not right at all. I am not satisfied with what the fellas are doing, but then you cannot kill everybody because you want to change the system. That is wrong.
All right, caller, thank you very much. 449-3095, 449-3096, and 449-3097. Let's continue, of course, the conversation here on the Talk on the Block as we continue to, of course, speak to the issue there as it relates to Cuba and the struggles. The question is, are we doing enough to assist the Cuban people? Okay, let's do this and we'll come back. It's already 1:43. Good afternoon to you on the call. Hello, yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Is that Brother Zed Lloyd?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you. Mark, I know you type and schedule everything, so I'm going to try to do some summary. Firstly, let me thank everyone.
I'm here. Go ahead, caller. We don't have too much time. Yes.
Let me thank Brother Dublin for coming out to speak on the issue. I applaud that. But I think, Matt, the issue we keep talking about Cuba. We keep talking about Cuba in political terms. The issue is a humanitarian issue. The issue is a humanitarian issue, Matt. And what is happening in that humanitarian issue is the Caribbean as a region is absent in that humanitarian issue. And that is really alarming. That is really alarming because tariffs or no tariffs or whatever, let us test the humanitarian component of Trump. And I think the CARICOM as a region, economically, organizationally, and otherwise, should be initiating a human response to what is going on in Cuba at the very least. And these governments need to talk to the people of these countries because Cuba has done enough for the Caribbean. That we, at this humanitarian point, should not, it's not an anti-American stance, it's a humanitarian stance. We should be filling our boats with gas, containers, and food, and whatever, and having some CARICOM missions going on Cuba. Let the Americans decide what they're going to do about it. We're not going to arms, we're not going to break their embargoes, or nothing. We're going to help our brothers and sisters, and we should, at the very least, be initiating that kind of initiative. That's damn nonsense in the region. Period. The Cubans have their issues, they have their problems, and they themselves have to hurry up into a democratic path. I don't care what you do as a revolutionary. There has to be a certain point that.
But somebody's pointing out, somewhat making sense. There's not much that can be done because of the blockade, and America will sanction third countries who will help Cuba. Oh, do you agree with that?
Matt, how much more sanctions can the Caribbean make? All these are gone. All kinds of things gone. Everything gone. You can't decide who's going to be medical. So, but this is this is a humanitarian issue, and you should test when inhumane conditions exist. You should test their elasticity, and I think that the region should be one of the first people to contest Trump on this issue of humanitarian aid to Cuba. Period. That's not optional.
So you're saying they can do more? They can do more, yes?
Yes, they can do more. They don't have to get involved in political processes. They don't have to get involved in those things. But you can justify a humanitarian initiative to Cuba. And the Caribbean should have been the leading region. Look at Jamaica, right next door to Cuba, silent as a lamb. Pure garbage, man. Pure garbage.
But let me ask, because some people are having the argument that if there's a change at the top, meaning that we change the government, to change the system, the communist system, then Cuba will get the assistance in need. How do you react to that?
That That is not our issue, boy. We cannot make that argument for Cuba. America want to make that argument. That's for America. As a region, our issue is humanitarian. We have to be standing with our brothers and sisters in Cuba. Period. It's damn nonsense.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much. Of course, his thoughts. Thank you very much. And there are a lot of other phone calls coming at this time. We expect that, because everybody seems to have a different thought. Somebody says, Mr. Peltier, let's be honest. It is the Cuban people who has been helping Dominica. The doctors working over the world has gave up almost 90% of their monies earned to the leadership of Cuba. The people of Cuba have no say in who governs them for more than 6 decades. And they should have the ability to decide who should be their leader. Secondly, Donald Trump may believe that he's a dictator and act like one, but in less than 3 years, he'll be no more. And last but not least, the Bay of Pigs was never about a takeover, but rather to overthrow the Fidel Castro regime and to replace them with a pro-American regime. Now we are asking what CARICOM can do. Other than dialogue, that's it. Finally, someone put it in context. There's a reason Cuba because it became a communist state. Russia was the only regime, the USSR was the only regime that didn't turn their backs on Cuba. Fidel said, quote, "Scratch my back and I will scratch yours." And Russia is about to send 2 tankers to Cuba. Let's see what happens. Let's see how the Americans react. On the telephone, 150 to talk to me, yes?
Matt, it is much more about scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You have to keep in context that Russia never had African slaves. They were never involved directly in the slave trade. You have to go back that far. And you have to remember who helped Mandela, who sent soldiers to help Mandela. President Clinton tried to tell Mandela something like, oh, you got to turn your back on Cuba. He said, no, this is who helped us. You cannot tell us that, because that is who helped us to get rid of apartheid. That's very important note, Matt. People seem to forget that. They fought for other black people in South Africa to free them. That is a critical point that must be remembered. We cannot just reject Cuba like that. So, a passant, they did a lot for us. And they've done so much more for us, even while they're under the embargo. We're benefiting from Cuba. We cannot be ungrateful, but at the same time, we're not very powerful. We do not know how Marco Rubio threatened Roosevelt Skerrit. He won't tell us. We do not know how much Antigua was threatened or anybody else was threatened, that if you help them, you're not helping our embargo, and we want to hasten this takeover. So, we're sort of helpless, but we have to understand in our minds, it's like slavery. Your wife is going to get killed, but there's nothing you can do because you're in chains, and you have to watch her get killed. But you remember that it's a devil that killed her. So that is where we are, I believe. There's not much we can do, but we have to understand it psychologically, what is going on. Our friends are being killed or are about to be killed, and there's nothing we can do. But someday we'll have to make a judgment. Who is the devil and who is not? Not this.
All right, thank you. A nation and people should never be held hostage against its will. Give free and fair elections and let the people decide the political direction through their votes. That's a contribution there on Facebook. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Mark, what is the hypocrisy about? Do you want Cuba to have a democracy? That's the question. You don't answer it. For instance, you remember it was Batista who ruled Cuba for years for the Americans before the revolution. And you must read the book From Columbus to Castro to understand
something went. I recognize the voice of Brain, but you need to put some more credits on your phone. It just cut off. Okay. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yeah.
Matt, good afternoon. This is good tomorrow.
Yes, you're back.
Where is that? Where is that living?
It says in New York.
Why has he been to Cuba?
I don't think so. Why?
Yeah, because my brother, he chose America instead of Cuba. All right, he chose America instead of Cuba.
So what is your point? He's making a point for the authorities to, of course, give to Cuba. That's all he was saying. He wasn't talking against Cuba.
I love that, but he supported America over Cuba because
that's not the point. I think you missed that point. Okay, my brother Bernard, you missed his point. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yeah? And let's go.
Matt,
Yes,
let me thank maybe Clem, that's his name, the one before, for saying that in simple language. I just didn't say it in simple language. Thank you.
I feel a shiver running up my spine. This turning.
Hello, talk to me. Yes, Hello. Caller, are you there? So many phone calls, a little confusion there. Hello, talk to me. Yes,
Yes, Matt. Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Great. This is Joseph in Dublin, Prince, and I think we need to zero in on what exactly we are supporting Cuba for, what we are not supporting Cuba for. We should not be seen as an ungrateful set of people. As we speak within the Caribbean, there are a number of persons who have benefited from education and health by Cuban, and as we speak, even at the hospitals, there are a number have been to Cuba on very short courses, and education has liberated a number of persons, and they were now able to contribute to themselves and their family. Cuba is now in a situation where the people are almost forced to eventually be so impoverished and even eventually die. Are we just going to sit back and talk about a system, a political system? That's not the issue now. The issue is that as a Caribbean people, we are called to support Cuba in spite of what? And I think we needed to, as Dr. Dublin said, the only thing is through the account number, and I'll just say it is 115003319. If from Dominica we can make a contribution, that's what we should focus on, and let Cuba give. Over 60 plus years, and that's during my lifetime, we have been at the level of the UN. Almost 100% of those who attended the country say that if the blockade should not be. And now Trump have gotten an opportunity. I mean, we as a Caribbean people, we have to know Cuba is part of the Caribbean and they need our help. We have to get together in whatever way. And for Dominica, it is contributing via the NBD account number 115003319. which should not be an ungrateful people. That's just remember the number of doctors that have been assisting us, the number of nurses, the education, which is so important. Some persons went to Cuba to check on the eye when they had this miracle eye operation.
Mm-hmm.
a number of us. I mean, when you go to Cuba, the people, how they are committed to the struggle, who tells you, even tell them that the people are against the system. Every country, as a sovereign country, have an opportunity and a need to decide. Even in America today, they're undemocratic practices. Some went into another country in Venezuela and see what happened. From the time the oil confirmed his, what happens next? Is it that we want for Cuba? You are impoverishing economically almost so many 10 plus millions of people to do what? Power and control is at the center of all of what is happening. So we as a Caribbean people, our focus is on the humanitarian. All the Cubans are part of the Caribbean family, and that's what we need to focus on. Let America deal with the other aspects of it. But we need to support Cuba. Let Cuba live.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your contribution. Let's take a few more calls on the subject. Hello, talk to me, yes? Caller. Nope.
I'd like people to understand that this is not a partisan political issue. It should not be one in Dominica, and it should not be one even internationally. Well, at this CARICOM-wide, this is not a war between democracy and communism or whatever they want to call Cuba. This is none of that. The people of Dominica have to.
We lost you there for a minute there. Hello, talk to me. Yes, it's already 2:00. Are you there, caller? No, you're not there. Let's try another call. Are you there? Yes. Caller, are you there?
I'm talking for Cuba. Yes, we are there. I'm talking for Cuba like this. I did not know that lady could talk, but things happening in Dominica, she cannot talk no more and talk. You see, they're wicked.
All right, let's not get personal on persons now. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Good afternoon, Dominica. Good afternoon, St. Joseph. Marco, Dominicans are very funny. Dominicans, I always, well, let me make my point. Marco, Cuba is in a much better position than Dominica. At least you have Marco, after the president is he. And he's fighting for his people. How can we, some of us don't even know about Cuba, just come in and make statements that we don't show? The man from Cuba, he's fighting for the freedom of his people. He knows better than I and you. Roosevelt carried over 51,000 passports. The youngest prime minister in the Caribbean or in the Western Hemisphere today, we should have 10 mini track and field. Or it is not even, we should have that in the country. Instead, Roosevelt carried fine best. The day we're celebrating, 25 people was arrested with the CBI. Money, he jailing them. Today, he will have shame of calling the case because he don't have a case against him. This man brings people from overseas to go to Hillary Clinton home. In which country you find that happening? He brings international people to go to Hillary Clinton home. With no protection, and the man was the opposition leader. He had a right for security. Instead, they bring the security to do that to him. So if America want to give Allen in hand to Dominica, you think people should say why big America try to invade Dominica? And when I see Roosevelt doing just like them communist leaders, this man leaves campaign financing out only for China to participate financially in Dominica election, that he will never lose an election. So what can he say about Cuba? What can he tell America? Why pray God America save Dominica? Look at how Dominica's fighting to save a mountain. Look at them and determined. Dominicans have to put on their guts. A man has to stand in front of Traco to try to put his life to save the mountain, to save the future of Dominica. And are you talking about Cuba? Why are you worse than Cuba?
All right, caller. Thank you very much. We have to take a break at this time. I know we just swaying from the subject, but we have to take a break at this time. We're going to talk to the guys from Moon Way. Of course, there's an election coming up, and we'll talk about that. We'll explore some of the candidates at this time. So let's take a break. We'll come back to talk to Moon Way and some of the candidates for the town council election. Stick around, Dominica. Stick around. UPP is coming your way this Thursday. A grand public meeting. Join the political leader, Joshua Francis, and the top executive members. Speak about your future, the vision for the nature island of Dominica, job creation and electoral reform. Make Dominica great again. March 19th, next to Mr. Hayden Sharp. See your face in the place, the UPP in Warner. March 19th, 7 p.m. See you there.
Get ready to crank it up. South City Guabe. South City Guabe. South City Grande. The repeat of the Global V1Q show of 12th March 2024 to commemorate the heroes of the Grand Bay Geneva Revolution led by the infatigable UNICEF and others will take place on Monday 23rd March at 1:15 p.m. on Q95 FM, the big station. Utang bien, messieurs, mesdames. Monday 23rd March, 1:15 p.m. on the big station. Learn about the history of slave ownership on the Geneva estate, the struggle of Grand Bay residents to get ownership of lands which had been occupied by their ancestors, and later the liberation of the people of Grand Bay and the expansion of the village and community onto the Geneva estate. South City Guabe, South City Guabe, South City Guabe. Tune in on Monday, March 23rd at 1:15 p.m. to hear more about how it all happened, how with the brave leadership of UNICEF and others help securing ownership of the lands on the Geneva estate for Grand Bay residents whose forefathers had worked on the lands. but denied ownership for decades. The Global View on Q, celebrating the heroes of the Grand Bay Geneva Revolution. Monday, 23rd March at 1:15 p.m. Only on Q95 FM, the big station.
Don't get ready for the massive UWP General National Meeting in Lyon, Saturday, March 21st. A massive crowd of patriotic Dominicans will gather to hear and to be informed of the state of the estate of Dominica. Team Dominica, the United Workers' Party, and thousands of dedicated supporters. Cost of living in Dominica is suffocating. Saturday, March 21st. Join the United Workers' Party. The silent majority is ready. From the north, the south, the east, and the west, an impactful lineup revealing shocking revelations. Stand with confidence for liberation and salvation. People in Dominica are hurt, frustrated, disappointed, even betrayed. You are not alone. The masses will converge in Lyon Saturday, March 21. Come and join the crowd. Be part of history with the UWP. The United Workers' Party. Power must change hands. This election cycle, it's all the way with the United Workers' Party. Surprising revelations.
It's your turn to stand for day wash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it, brother. I have no fear of nothing, no one at all.
Don't allow the authorities to destroy nature, the rivers, the mountain, the nature isle.
Don't call and complain about Dominicans not standing up. Where are you?
Make the call. Save day wash.
It's not a war against the people. It's a war against wicked principalities in high and low places.
They're taking it to the next level. The courts. Call and make your contribution to save day wash this Friday, 1 to 3. Make that call. Save day wash. All right, Dominica, we're changing the subject at this time, changing gear. An interesting election is taking place in the city of Roseau. It appears historic. A number of candidates vying for the council, and of course, subsequently, one mayor will be elected. So we'll have a new mayor for the city of Roseau. I suspect the new mayor, or the mayor, current mayor, is putting up a hat in the ring again. So who knows who will emerge as mayor? I'm seeing a lot of controversial statements there all over. Who is qualified and not qualified? But Moon Sawe, I suspect, is putting up a group of persons. And we have most of the members here with us to explain to us why, as a group, they've decided to challenge the council election coming up on day what? The 23rd?
23rd, Monday coming.
Monday coming, okay? So let me allow the guys to speak of the objectives and what plans they may possibly have for the city of Roseau. So let's say good afternoon to the guys. Let them introduce themselves one by one. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Dunstan Maggie Peters.
Okay.
Ward 2, Roseau Central.
Ward 2?
Ward 2 includes Roseau Central, Bath Estate, Silver Lake.
Okay. And my friend?
Cashmere Richards, Ward 1, Kings Hill, Newtown, Emsall, parts of Virginia, parts of Bathrood.
Okay, my brother?
Lenny John Baptist, Tola, same way, Ward 1, Kings Hill, same district.
Same district.
Ward 1. Yeah.
Ward 1. Now tell me, let me ask a question. Why did you decide, to participate in that process?
Well, as you know, we have been advocating on a national level already for better governance and better management of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So now the city is available for that aspect of it, and why not?
Mm-hmm.
Let us demonstrate that we want to come and bring a fresh energy.
Okay.
We feel we can do it, and we want to do it.
So you participate as a group?
Yes.
Okay. Kashmir, tell us why you decided to participate.
Well, I decided to participate because seeing that city council is a grassroots vibes for the
okay.
people, local government. I've come to the understanding and realization that there is a lack of hope and inspiration in the grassroots. And my whole idea of coming into the city council race is to bring a new energy, a new inspiration, and a drive to bring people together, because we can only achieve development in the city through unity of the people around the city.
You're on that same trajectory?
Obviously, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as Maggie said, one of the main reasons we have been advocating for a very long time, and instead of staying on this side and keep advocating, and there's an opportunity where we could be in a better place to advocate in the right way for the people, we decide, well, we should attach on to the opportunity to stand for the people, to look out for the better good of the people, because we know that we deserve better, and somebody needs to take it up. We have to take part involved. We need to get involved in things that are happening in the system. We cannot just stay on this side and stay making noise, talking, and not getting involved, because at the end of the day, our generation is our time now. We're 45, we're almost 50, some of us 50 already and going, you know. So if we don't take part now, what we're going to leave for the generation after us? So we figure out we need to take part in it, you know.
But you're challenging the status quo. There's a whole set of different people, I suspect, participating in the election coming up. And would you say this council, I want you guys to be very straight with me and objective, would you say this council is doing the work that it should have done or should be doing?
Well, Matt, it's obvious, you know. Well, the present council is dissolved because of the election is on right
I'm
now.
talking about the current then.
All right.
The past, if you will.
You're talking about the past council.
Yes.
Well, to most Dominicans we have been speaking to on the grounds, it's like the council is dormant. It's like you don't have a council existing no more. But yes, there's a council, and it still have its functions. And this is the reason why we decide, well, we have to take part. We have to get involved.
So you got involved because you heard that the past council, as you explained, is not doing anything for the city.
It's not just even heard. We know that. We living in it. We're not to say we're not from the city. We're living in the city, so we've seen what's going on. We know what's going on. People need representation.
And you think you can provide that representation?
Well, we know we can provide that. Not just think. We know we can provide the representation that is needed.
Okay, Kashmir, I speak to that question.
Well,
are you dissatisfied with the past council?
Matt, to be honest, I, for one, haven't really been paying attention to the past council.
Okay.
But being on the ground talking to the people, it is clear that the council itself has not represented for the people. They have not carried the people's challenges through collective agreement. Because the council is a group of people that must vote on whatever proposal is there. And if you have a dormant council that doesn't propose nothing, so nothing can be voted on, or even a proposal can fail, then you have a council that are not working for the people, just sitting down with the status quo. Everybody line up with the status quo and figure, well, once they line up with the status quo, their nomination or their election guaranteed to the council. And that is not the way that we want to see things anymore. We want to see active participation, because one of the main reasons the status quo is staying the same is we as Dominicans are starting to, because of the lack of representation, we actually disenfranchising ourselves by not participating in the local government election. A lot of people will tell you, I've participated in general election, but I have never participated in local government.
Okay.
But yet, what we see and complain the most about is the local government. Rosso gutters, the sidewalks, the cemetery, the landfill. Some of these things are the jurisdiction of the local government. So if we're complaining about it, we should participate in changing the management of the local government.
I think we've just been joined by two other members participating in the council election. Can you introduce yourself, young lady?
Hello, good day. My name is Christina Sobas.
Pull the microphone to you. Thank you.
My name is Christina Sobas and I'm representing Ward 3.
Ward 3 involves?
Excuse me?
Ward 3 involves what? What hamlet?
Goodwill, Upper Goodwill, Santa Roma, and Louisville.
Okay, and you, my brother?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Mhm.
Matt, it's great to be here. My name is Sherman Boston, candidate for Ward 4, comprising of Foncoley, Glasgow, Simon Bolivar, Stock Farm, Yampis, Belvirol, Cotter Village, Tarish Pit, Pottersville.
That's a lot of hamlets there.
Part of Goodwill.
Okay.
Yeah, you the big hamlet.
Yeah.
This is my first time running, Matt.
Yes.
And I can safely say I can encourage this person and been trying to encourage other people to actually come on board because of what I've seen going on.
So you are or you were part of the council before?
I was part of the council before.
Okay.
So I kind bring a sense of experience with it.
Okay. So you're sort of heading the team because of your experience.
Well, you can put it like that.
Okay.
But a team is a team.
Okay.
Together, everyone achieve more.
All right.
That's my motto.
Okay. All right. Well, we were asking the same question. The question to you, and I'll ask it again. Are you satisfied that under the past council that they met their objectives?
Quite frankly, no. No.
No.
No. And not for lack of this discussion of problems, policies to be made. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't want to make it that.
Okay.
But political preference plays an important role in decision making in the council.
Political preference meaning what?
Political preference, like we have
you're dividing the council. Who's supporting this party and who's supporting the other party?
Well, it have me.
That
was a member supporting the party, the government.
Yes.
I'd like to say was a member.
Okay.
And the rest, all of them supporting.
Okay. So you moved away from that.
Yeah, man.
Because
I can't be in a system that they can dictate who to actually who actually can succeed, should succeed.
Okay.
Okay, that's not right. We need to move back into a tradition. And sorry for my voice, because I've been talking a lot.
I understand. You've been campaigning a lot on the ground.
On the ground.
Okay.
And changing up, not even in my word.
No?
No, because
So you're confident enough to say, I need to go on the ground. I need to help others.
I wouldn't say I'm confident because, I mean, tradition have changed. Good works no longer carry you through.
Right.
But I mean, I ride on my good works. Members of my community know.
Okay.
I've been engaged. I've been encouraged by the community to go into city council, local governance.
Okay.
So, but not actually that. I see one of the main problem is having a council that is actually non-partisan.
Oh, okay.
A council that is focused on the
independent.
Okay. And these gentlemen, and this young lady, I've worked with a lot. These gentlemen, one of the main reasons, I see they're willing to learn, they want to know. I've been with councillors on the council for 9 years, some 6 years, and not you can ask them any question. And I want to give that to you because I think it's unfair for journalists to interview people on the council and ask the same question. What are your plans? But they don't actually know what council is about.
So I was a councillor, so I know a little about that.
You know a little about that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to leave the act with you.
Okay.
Okay? So you can go over it because as I keep telling people, you vote for people to be on the council and then you kind of put them back against the wall.
Okay.
One, I voted in to manage a bankrupt institution, quite frankly.
It's bankrupt?
Bankrupt, yeah. City council don't really have money.
I just heard there from my sources that the government just gave $100,000 to every council.
And 200 to city council.
Wow, 200 to you?
Yeah.
So you have money in the bank right now?
Right. Well, not 200,000, but your source is correct.
Okay.
Your source is correct. The reason for that money will have another discussion.
Okay.
But the money came with instructions.
Instructions?
Yes. And
I thought it's for the council.
What to do.
You're making a very interesting point. I heard that too. The palace were telling you what to do with the money.
What to do with the money. So then you actually, what you doing to the council members and to the council? You always announce that we have keep on hearing that. 250,000 please here, $750,000 please here. Even after we can marry you. $2.5 million please in the council. The council had absolutely no jurisdiction to implement that money.
You're joking.
Anybody. No. Because people have to come with a government letter to actually benefit from the money.
But so, I thought they gave, from my sources, they gave you guys the money, not only the council, they give you guys the money and they said identify projects. So why would the government get involved?
But why identify projects when council is engaged in projects on a daily basis? We are incapable of fulfilling the projects because of one, lack of equipment, and because of two, lack of labor force. So why come with our money and dictate what to do with the money when we know what we need to do with the money? Council have 2 trucks presently. Actually, I urged the council to purchase one.
Okay.
I actually was the one who ordered the truck for the council. That's a little sketchy.
Right.
I'm not ashamed to say it because why it wasn't being done. As a councilman, I should have engaged in that. But not a problem. I'm guilty of that, but the truck is working. It do a lot for Roseau. Then, because I don't know of if it's the fact that I was the one that encouraged to get that truck, the council went and took a loan and purchased a brand new truck. When I encourage them, the money that buying a brand new truck can buy 3 or 4 trucks order. We're not paying custom duties, taxes on the truck. So we could actually have bought 3 to 4 trucks with that money. But the right went ahead and purchased. And what my reason with that again, the latest trucks, the metal is inferior. We engage in garbage disposal. When you take a truck of an inferior metal and start to put garbage on it, all the acid, it's not going to last long. Presently, the brand new truck is in a worse condition than the used truck.
Very interesting, very interesting. There, engaging with this councillor who may have know a lot about what's happening in the council. Young lady, you are you a councillor?
No.
Not, but you chose to participate.
Yes.
Why? What reason?
Well,
what are your objectives?
So first of all, I'm very community oriented, and I'll keep saying that.
Okay.
So I'm very involved in my community. I'm presently the president of the Goodwill Improvement Committee.
Okay.
So I work a lot in the community with youth, with keeping the savannah clean and
the environment.
I think I can do a lot for my community, so I choose to participate.
All right. What are the vibes on the ground? Are you getting the support that you need there?
Well, to be honest, I haven't been on the ground as often as I should, but so far I have community members coming up to me, tell me they heard about it, and
they'll give you the support.
Yeah.
Maggie, of course, you are a community man. Of course, in sports, everybody know about Maggie. So, Maggie, you choose to participate in this because you're hearing of the ills in the Roseau City Council. What can you do about it?
Yeah,
how do you plan to change it?
Yeah, well, I'm a person, I enjoy helping to find solutions to issues and have a lot of issues. And I'm ready and willing to find solutions. And then with our experienced councillor, they explained to us, like, we didn't know the vast thing that the council is responsible for. And when they explained, they're responsible for recreational spaces, and you know, that's my thing. You know, the green spaces and all that kind of thing, you know. So that even give me more courage because I'm having difficulties to get access to playing fields and recreation grounds to train the youths, and then I going back and forth mass. I go so they tell, you know, all kind of thing. So in that process there, you know, the youths and them are being, you know, disenfranchised, and I want to come and assist in that regard.
Mr. Richards, I want to ask you the question there because I know you understand the election on the ground, but we're hearing some words. I just left a news conference earlier, and it was being indicated to me that the electoral list for the council is a problem because the people, you can't get new voters, supporting the move as it relates to electing who they want. Is that a problem there?
Well, Matt, as a national issue, not just a council issue, the whole idea of our approach to electoral reform is going to leave a lot of Dominican people disenfranchised, as we currently see now. So you have young people who would have been able to register to participate in this council election, have been disenfranchised from exercising their voice.
And you're hearing a lot of that on the ground?
Yes, we are, especially from the young people, because they want to participate, but because of the suspension, that's a whole year of continuous registration that could not have happened. So even have young 18-year-olds, you have 25-year-olds that have never registered, you have 35-year-olds that have never registered, you have people 50 years that have never registered. That is a wide spectrum of the Dominican population, or I should even say, even go to micro, that is a large segment of the Roseau municipality population that has been totally disenfranchising from expressing their view by the ballot. This idea that the people at the Electoral Commission are doing, it is not right, Matt. You have an election where you give in basically 3 weeks to campaign because you want to give the incumbent, the status quo, the advantage. As you see, Ward 4 is a large hamlet. Large place.
Yes.
2 weeks to canvass that. A week and a half ago, we got our electors list to canvass on Thursday. Last Thursday, and the election is next Monday. That is leaving us at a disadvantage. So the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Office, need to present elections in a better manner to the Dominican public if they do not want to seem like they want to disenfranchise a set of the public in favor for one set of the public. And that should not continue.
Would you recommend that they postpone the election if you could?
But if I had the power, yes, it should be postponed. If I had the power. Because for me, when we talk about the whole electoral process and disenfranchising people, the path we should have gone down is complete re-registration of the list. This hoopla of reconfirmation is just a confusing injection into the whole process, a layer that should not exist, and we see the result of that whole process.
All right. I think you wanted to raise your hands there.
I wanted to touch on that, Matt, because actually just about a month before council was dissolved, we came into a meeting. I myself, when the money was passed, I went to the electoral office to get information. So that when I came into contact with the Prime Minister at that meeting at the Kempinski Hotel, I would actually express to him the disappointment in elections being called and people are being disenfranchised. So I went to the electoral office, spoke to the chief election officer, and spoke to the people on the ground. I got the information, I brought it forth in that meeting when that same money had been disbursed. And then, it's practically it intrigued a little of my colleagues from City Council. So much so that we wrote to the Electoral Commission as the council.
You wrote?
Yeah, and if I wasn't told it, I wanted to bring that letter, but I'll get it to you. From the council, we wrote to the Electoral Commission expressing the council's dissatisfaction in the whole process of people being disenfranchised. Okay, and it's not
and yet they still continue the process.
Well, some put that it was an ample reason to postpone. And I want to say that because it was said to me at the electoral office. Laws has to be changed so that you can change the date of the elections. But in my term at the council, the date was changed due to COVID lockdown for the 3 months. So my question was, explain to me what the laws would change to facilitate that change of the date.
Let's take a phone call. Interesting point there. Hello, talk to me. Yes, Yes,
This is Bernard Moore again. All right, give Munsteria my number because I want to be a member of them. All right, 245-1345.
You want to be a member of Munsteria?
Give Munsteria my number.
All right, say it again so they'll call you.
Bernard Moore, I want to be a member. Okay.
So you want to have them? You want to help them campaign? Then they have a couple of days.
Why not? Why not?
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. This young man is saying he wants you, campaign. You have just a few more days, guys. How confident are you?
And I see what.
Yes.
I ride in with my positive impact on my communities.
Okay.
I know we have a tradition of forgetting certain people, little petty things, but at the end of the day, I think good will prevail. 2026, we need good to prevail, and we need to celebrate something. In Dominican and Roseau, far too long people have been disgruntled, and that's one of my reasons why I chose to move away from the Labour Party. Because if that amount of people is actually disappointed,
disenfranchised.
No, not disenfranchised, disappointed with the rule of the day. At some point in time, the leaders of the party, of the government, of the situation should say, hold on, pause. Let us engage. Let us see what exactly is the problem. So I came to the conclusion that this is not a concern of anybody, and I cannot be riding along that because I am on the ground and I know people have real issues why they do not support the party. Sometimes it's not the fault.
So are they used to support the party and no longer support the party?
Yes, and they don't support the party because of certain issues that is actually a reality in our lives. And at some point we should stop. But we don't keep going here because we want to win, we want to be in power, and forget the reason why we want to win.
And doing anything to win.
Inevitably, it was to make Dominica a better place. Right? No, I questioning that. And I questioning that all wrong in the body. because I figure, as I said before, we feel it has to be us to change it. It has to be us to lead. It has to be us to make a better day. And it can't be that. Because my first thing in that, when you say it has to be us, you disregard the creator, the Most High, and I'm a very moral inclined person, and I will not engage anything that is disrespectful to my moral.
I asked a question earlier to a group of leaders, and I said on the ground there and during this conference, I suspect a lot of vote buying may be taking place. So the people on the ground now are saying, well, you want my vote, so I have to pay for it. Are you getting that there from the status quo in the city council?
Well, in the city council election right now, I would say no. I will not come and say things I have seen in the past, things I know of in the past. Okay, I don't want to say things I know of because people trusted me and come and sell the secret. No.
Okay.
But it's a tradition that have been developed because of the way the present administration is looking to get into power. So people
And you think this trend is infiltrating in the Roseau City Council too?
It definitely is. It definitely is. Because some of the reasons people will say, like, okay, actually today somebody called me and tell me, certain people say they're voting for me because I said the last time that when I win, I'll give them drinks. I am oblivious to that.
Okay.
I have friends I give you drink. No, if I can. If I cannot, I tell you I cannot.
Okay.
People look at me at a certain financial status and fine.
Mm.
I not bubble in my pot. But I don't think you should see. I usually fix roads. I do community service. It is not really inclined to city council work.
Mhm.
That is where they have the divide. I have worked with Mrs. Sobers a lot before Maria, all through after Maria to present day. So I know she's a person, she's deeply interested in doing community service, community work. So, I engage her on that level. But when you look at the whole situation, Matt, it just becomes like my vote is for sale. And some people make joke about it. Some people take it as a joke, but then other persons, because of their actual situation, they look at it as a way to get out of the economical situation. So sometimes you can't really blame them because you can see the situation on the ground.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're a person, you're actually into the reality of life, you know people have some real crucial situation. Okay? But we as elders, you see persons.
Hold that thought there because a lot of people seem to be trying to call. Are you there, caller? Sorry. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? You had a call back. Thank you very much. But you're going to make a point there. As it relates to the situation of life, yes.
Yeah, because the situation of life. So persons really need to get out of the situation. And I think I would tell people right now, I think poverty is the greatest sin because it makes you too easily manipulated. So we should seek to get people out of poverty, and then we can have a more level playing ground when it comes to politics.
Mhm.
But I don't see that coming no time soon because we are already in a bad financial situation. You take that call?
Yeah, let's take that call. Hello, yes?
Yeah, Matt, I am glad that a first set of people are coming in and realizing that the town council has really been marginalized by the Labour Party in power for all these years, and that they want to take more responsibility and have control over things and get more done for the community. I live in Goodwill, and I've not seen one candidate come to my door. So it also seems that people are just running to get into elections without wanting to do anything in their communities. Or I am not aware. They're not coming to my door and telling me this is what we're doing. I have a big pile of garbage outside my door, which since 4th of November has been there, and it's not moving. I try to call, they say I can't help you, but I don't have a representative I can approach. No parliamentary representative. Matt, we are lacking representation in this country at the community level, at the regional level of the whole island. So I'd like to see somebody. I live on Terrell's Lane in Goodwill. Somebody show their face, and then I'll vote.
Okay.
Enough said, man.
All right, thank you very much. So you're one of you guys have to show up your face. Terry Lane is Goodwill. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yeah? More calls. Are you there, caller? Yes? Caller, are you there? No, you're not. Let's take more phone calls. Yes. This is a talk on the block.
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Let me wish all the guys good luck. Because that is a group start for them is a fresh, breath of fresh air or something like that. But I know we will finish council. It's been a political thing now. Power giving money to vote. I see it happen in my community, right? And people like it's a labor and a UWP thing. That's not the way it goes. It's supposed to. Because I had a situation where we had a village council election. So the people that were passing around, like 2 girls and 2 young ladies passing and asking people to vote for them. And so I was sitting on the step right in the presence. So, I did approach me. So somebody told them, why don't you approach this young man to see and get the vote? And my thing was to vote for like some young lady and 2 others or 3 others or 4 others. And we say, we don't do everybody else. You know what she said? She said, this is how you got me look here. I don't go enough time asking something. So that's it. If you not right, it will not come to you. Right? So for that, I say I am not voting for village council anymore. I want to change out of politics, then I will vote for village council. And tell her good luck.
I see. I've been in village councils before, as a matter of fact, maybe 2 or 3 times in the council. But I think in recent times we've seen a lot of politics, emerging on councils. So you guys have to be very careful about that, because as you said, the pilot will decide. I've heard a few councillors over the past few days always attaching the statement to, I work with the power. I work with the power. So this is, as you said, maybe very true. This election cycle may be one that's the MPs of the various Caroso may be involved in this, trying to influence candidates
I
or
want to
voters.
I want to touch on something that the caller said in terms of, he said nobody come to his door.
Okay.
And like Bojo said, we just how we can have to give us the list, and the amount of places you have to cover in that short space of time is not easy. You know what I mean? So we trying our best, but not because we don't see nobody. You know what I mean? And we still doing our best, putting anything out there. So you have to listen and try your best to do the right thing.
I see one other member surfacing at this time. Let's give him a chance to say his piece. Mr. Jason John Baptist, you just stepping in, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. And how are you doing?
Good. You decided to join the Moon team on that election. Why?
Right?
Uh-huh.
I would say, as I tell, a while ago, I just had a discussion with some people. Well, I just had a discussion on hot topics.
Okay.
And as I tell people, most people don't know, especially in Roseau election, that the city council is made out of 13 councillors.
13? 1, 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, 8 of them are chosen. Elected. 8 are elected.
And 5 nominated.
And 5 nominated by the government. So that means the government puts in 5 of its own people there.
Okay.
If you do not have a team of candidates going up against where everybody can support that team, then you're going to have a breakdown where the government will always be, especially if 2 of the people win, they'll always have absolute power. So if you can have a team and you present a team of candidates together, it will give a bigger impact. And with this team of folks there, you have people that are actively involved in the community. Not people because of they supporting a political party, they trying to do something in the community. You have people that are actively involved in the community, sports, in anything. So I'd rather be on that team and knowing you're on a team of people that really interested in moving the community forward, we can achieve it. And if the supporters get to know or get to see that, because I bet now some of the supporters, some of the people that listen to you on the radio getting to know that is why, or that is how the mayor is chosen. Because there are 5 that there, all they have to do is win 2. And they have the majority. They dictate who's the mayor in the council, because that means
they have 5.
7. And the rest will only be 6. So we're trying to show we can have a whitewash. They lose all of them.
You think that's very possible? A whitewash?
Well, try to see, that's how you have to try to pass the message. You have to say you can pass the message and see how the people who are really willing, because you have some people that sit down there on the council for many years and tell me what have they done, what have they done to really improve Roseau? What have they done to see how it's not relying on the government alone to give you subsidies, you have ways, your council, you have to see ways and means which you can generate your own capital. You have to have fundraisers, you have ways in which you can do different things. So that is what, it's not just sitting down there and know you're enjoying a stipend from the government just because you're chosen. You have to be able to work for the people. It's like the people put you there to work for them.
All right. Any one of you there within that term interested in being mayor? I know it's an election.
Let me say something, man.
You tell me.
Anybody that is interested in running for city council and did not want to be the mayor, they have no place in the race of running.
Repeat that.
Any person who is interested in running for city council but not interested in being the mayor, they have no place in the race. No, but we can let me tell you.
All right.
The mayor is ceremonial mayor, just like the president is ceremonial.
Okay.
Okay, the chairman of the board.
Right.
But with the title comes a certain amount of respect and authority.
True.
Based on what to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you really want progress in your community and Roso, you have to want that level of
leadership. But my opinion, I need to be clear on the role. I need to know what the role entails. I need to be certain before I can go in a leadership position because I want to be the best leader I can be.
Right.
Okay.
So at present, I'm not interested in being mayor.
Oh, you? Okay.
Because
Somebody else might be.
Because I know in order for me to take that role, I have to be certain of myself. I need to be sure. You understand?
Yes.
Right now, I can assist. I know I have drive. I work hard.
Right.
I can assist in the council. But as for the leadership role of mayor,
You think somebody else should do it?
Yeah.
All right.
No, well, actually, the mayor doesn't have that much of a leadership role in reality. You know?
It's the council.
The council, the mayor doesn't actually even have an ordinary vote. The mayor only have a casting vote. And I've sat in the council with a lot of experienced councillors and looked at the mayor voting. But one day there was people representatives from the ministry and local government, and I had to point it out because they was about to let it go through.
Okay.
But I have read that in the law, and I know that from day one at the council.
Uh-huh.
Now, with that being said, my statement wasn't finished.
Okay.
With being the mayor comes with a certain level of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think nobody should come in their first time in the council and be the mayor, because then you're going to have too much time getting acquainted with the actual process and the reality of what is the function of the council and the mayor. So then being a fresh candidate in a 3-year term and you want to be the mayor, by the time you're acquainted, your term will be up.
sorry to the present mayor or any past mayors that have been, especially remember under the present mayor. She's been there for 2 terms, and from the first time.
No, you know, she has been here for 3 terms. 2 terms as the mayor.
2 terms as the mayor.
2 terms as the mayor.
She has been here since 2016.
So when Uden Grove was the mayor.
Irene Jones was the mayor. She was.
Uden Grove.
The last mayor before Miss Roye was Irene Jones. Yeah. And she served, Miss Roye served under Mrs. Jones.
Okay. Hello, on the telephone, are you there?
Yes, Mark, I am there.
Yes, my brother.
Mark.
Yes, I'm here.
I am Bernard Moore, Dublin Bryn.
Yes, sir, I heard that. Yes.
Because you, based on your surname, all right, you are easily cut off, and based on your surname, and then you are easily lensman. So I add Dublin Prince to my surname, all right?
I don't know why you're coming to that point there. I've allowed you to speak of 3 times this afternoon, so you have priority then for 49309. You know, very, very you call it C caller, like say a controversial caller sometime. Hello, but let's see. As I said, I asked the question. Nobody has answered the question though. Do you see a mayor within the structure that you have?
Yes.
Yes, we see a mayor within the structure that we have, and if elected, we will show off who the mayor is. But in the group of us, we are confident that we have a person that we would like to see as mayor
and work with.
Yes.
All right, Dominica. The calls you can call right now 4493095, 4493096, and 4493097. The afternoon time is 2:46. Hello, talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah, greetings, Belgium.
Greetings, my brother.
Here.
Yeah, as a trucker.
I just want enough respect to my boy Maggie and Montserrat. I support them 100% for the simple fact that they didn't just a hurry come up. They've been on the grind for years, been arrested, been victimized. I remembering people like Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Mandela. They've been all that by this government. You know what I'm saying, for standing for Dominica. So that's a good repertoire they have for people to vote for them because they are for country's interest. So, and Maggie been working with the youths and them, the future of Dominica into football, basketball, and whatever sports activity. So that is all the reason why the people should vote for them because they have interests of country at hand and they're genuine to that. Some other individual just come up and just want, I'm not against nobody else, but because of what they've been doing throughout the years for Dominica. So I hope the people listening and their hearts are in the right place for Dominica's interest. So enough respect to Montserrat. Hope I'll get to meet you all one day, man. Peace and blessings, my brother.
Peace and blessings to you too, sir. It's I said 13 minutes. We have a lot more calls coming in. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Good afternoon, Mr. Peltier. I was outside, but I come inside, but I know what the topic is about.
Okay.
Let me say something. The best mayors I saw pass in Dominica already is Mrs. Butler, Cecil Joseph, and it have a few. But I think that what my problem is about is that everybody's saying, I will do this, I will do that. I would rather use the word, we will. We will do that. If I come in, we will do that. Whoever you put. And those who have gone through that way, that came to even to be elected, if they are not elected, they will come together with the person that is a mayor and work. But everybody say, I will do that. But when you see they come by, when the wheels start to turn, you don't see what you see. You understand? So what I think, say, I and whoever they put with me, we will work and we will do this. But that I is a little word, but it's powerful. You understand? And too many people in Dominica saying I, and you don't see where I is. We. I use we. Because when they put somebody, if you is not your that can do it. And the best mayor, I think today they should send back send back Cecil Joseph back in city council and take him out in DBS.
You want to take him out from DBS? Yes? You still with Cecil too?
No, I didn't still with Cecil, but Cecil is my good friend.
Okay.
But I would say Cecil could say we would do that because Cecil was part of the manipulation or the key manipulation of the council.
Right.
There will always be people that will align to whatever he say because they have, for years it have been under the umbrella of the Labour Party. So he could say, we will do that.
Okay.
Because I went into the council with a we concept. I have never been contentious with anybody for the leadership role. I worked with Mrs. John. I worked with Miss Roy. Okay. I always tell Miss Roy, history doesn't remember the councillors. History does remember the mayor.
All right.
So please, my lady, be mindful of your legacy.
Okay.
She chose not to take my advice and she chose to uphold other people's legacy, which is always her choice.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, caller, we will say we, because we got to represent ourselves as a group, as a team, okay? And then even in the realm of things, not because of certain person's political preference, because you can see 6 of us,
right?
Okay? And to get the majority, you have to have somebody else, okay? I spoke to the potential councillors and I tell them, Miss Belle Matthew, she has been there a long while, but if you take her from the council kind of going to be like strict because she's the person, she has the time, she go over the accounting, she will cite mistakes, she will cite certain things. She participates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mr. Quincy, I studied with him once. Quincy Angol. He worked at Doasco. Despite of his political affiliation, I still tell him, from my experience with Quincy, you can work with him because you could see he have development and Roseau at heart.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know if any of them offended I call the name on right now.
Right.
But I have gone publicly and endorsed Mrs. Belle Matthew and endorse Quincy Angol because I've worked with them and I'm sure despite of their political affiliation, Roseau comes first. And I'll say that with no apology.
All right, let me ask a question there because you said you are independent candidates. But a lot of people out there say you are representing some political party. How do you respond to that? Maggie, from you. You represent some. I cannot identify which party, but
that's the first question I was going to ask. Which one? But then we clearly, like the trucker said, we've been at this for years, and first thing we had to do was to undo that belief in people's mind.
Okay.
That we are affiliated with any party. I always say, let's put down the party colors, and we believe in that. That is the problem plaguing us, is that red and blue, that tribalism. So we by no means we involve in no party. You know what I mean? And it's up to the people to see works, by your deeds. You know? So we show in.
Let's just pass the mic around before we go.
Well, for us, it is all about unity, Matt.
Okay.
And we've always been preaching the coming together of the Dominican people, because for too long, we've had a harsh political divide amongst our people. And we have seen where that has led us to. We are not going anywhere as a people. In order to change our trajectory, we have to do better, and that better is coming together. And we as a team will always advocate for a non-partisan approach to any issue that affecting the Dominican people, whether it's in Roseau or whether it is anywhere else on the island. Our main thing is drawing our people together. No more of that political, that one is a that right, that one is a that right, that not in our camp.
Okay.
That not in our camp. Our camp is we all are Dominican people, and we have to work together to move the country forward. And I'd like to address the PALREP thing. Mark, the council not there to fight against the PALREP. The council actually there to make the PALREP look good. Because when the PALREP works with the council, who does the council have to say work with them? The PALREP. So if the council wants a little help in financing some project, the PALREP should make themselves available to see it happen. But on the same, if the PALREP wants something that the city doesn't need, the council should at the same time be able to say, yo, that doesn't make sense for the city. We're not supporting that. And nobody should feel hurt, because at the end of the day, good ideas need to prevail, bad ideas need to be shut down, but we have to be able to talk to one another on a level together playing field.
All right, Tola, come around.
Well, Matt, as I've always been saying, I don't think no political party could get us to do what we are doing right now. And not even now, from beginning, since 2019, I've been always telling people no political party cannot pay me, cannot encourage me for the stand I will take for the better good of my country, my people, my children, future. And when I mean my children, not just the children that I make, I'm talking about children in general.
The community.
All right? Not even just the community in general. Because I am another person that only known in my community, Matt.
Sure.
All right? So there's a great responsibility at my hands. So I cannot go down that road to say going down the road of a political party and putting people behind. I always have people at hand, and first, I do believe in that political party could get us to do what we are doing, because we is about the better good for everybody. And one political party I know we should all have is Dominica, because our allegiance should always be to Dominica. Our coat of arms teach it to us. Our national anthem teach it to us. So our allegiance should always be for Dominica. And when I see there are people, their allegiance is not for we Dominicans, I cannot stand aside and watch it. I have to take a stand.
All right. Well said there. Let's move on to the young lady. Young lady?
Well, I've never been affiliated with any political party. I see leaders of our community, and I'm willing to work with any leader affiliated to my community. I see the togetherness. Well, I'm from a community where togetherness was. That's why I even got into sports, because I'm from an area, Debians. We had the community together, working together, doing events together, and I see that slowly die away. My child never experienced that. So I'm willing to work with any leader in our community to help develop our community. I've never been affiliated with any party. I work with individuals. If you are good for my community, be you red, be you green, blue, purple, I'm going to support you. And that's it. I want to see my community get back to the place they were.
All right.
It's to see the way forward. And as we talk about PALREPs, you know Roseau City Council has the same Roseau City Council has 3 PALREPs?
Yes. 3. Yeah.
Roseau North, Roseau Central, and Roseau South. So if you have those 3 PALREPs in government and you can get them and talk to them or have meetings with them as a city council to move their constituency forward. And if you as councillors can get them and they can move the whole city forward, then it will be better for all. It won't be better for one set. It will be better for all of us. So this is what we have to do, that political divide. Or as I tell people, I don't support no party. I speak for the freeness of the way I want to see things happen.
Okay, let's take your word, and then we'll come back again, Russ, and of course identify your symbols, and we'll get to go. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Matt. I want to actually pose a question. First of all, I want to say, let's forget about the term with Mrs. John. Okay.
Okay.
My past 2 terms from 2019 to present under Miss Ray.
Okay.
And I can safely say with no apology and without washing my face that we have had a Labour Party council.
A mayor?
Labour Party council and mayor.
Okay.
Okay? And I can say boldly installed. And Matt, I'm going to say boldly, I'm going to ask a question to the nation, even to the Labour Party and to that very council I'm speaking about. How is it that you are a council supporting the government, your pal rep, but you have nothing to ride on your re-election because you will come and talk about what you...
So there's no legacy?
No, none, zero, absolutely none. Okay? And I can ascribe myself to it because I was part of the council. The council have nothing, and you can hear it on the street, to say they have done or they are ongoing, doing, they have to finish. Absolutely nothing. How it is that you have a Labour Party council, okay? And the same Labour government doesn't empower that council to do what needs to be done. Ask yourself that question, Labour Rights. Ask yourself that question, councillors. We were on the council together. Okay, I'm asking you that now publicly.
Okay.
Because we have approached the government for assistance. Not forthcoming. Okay, we have approached the government for us to assist us to repair these sidewalks because people have been injured on these sidewalks.
Okay.
And have sued the council. And all you keep hearing, leave the sidewalks alone, the Roseau Enhancement Project is coming. It is coming, Matt, for my entire 9 years we are hearing that. We cannot give nobody a spot to sell on the sidewalks because of that Roseau Enhancement Project. But behind our back, the PAL reps are giving persons permission. When Councillor Projem, they have got authority of the PAL rep, and our hands are tied. People are complaining so long. I asking for a spot. Look, Airtel just get a spot. I was there before him. Why? Nobody can answer that. But that is the reality, Matt. And any of the councillors, they can come and challenge me on what I say.
But then the next thing, being somebody involved in business in also, and I got to know it from my dear good friend, the mayor too. Do you know that after Carnival, Monday and Tuesday, Roseau City Council cleans the streets after the street jumper? I'm very happy of the job that they do.
All right.
Yeah. But then it's not, no extra cash has been given to the workers on that time.
Really? No extra cash?
But no extra funding from DLC or the government of Dominica for cleaning that street. That is just like, is how they say some certain job. They not got no extra bonus or nothing. For like a normal day.
Let me give you a little opinion from an experience background. In the time of cleanup after Carnival, Roseau City Council actually hire persons to assist the council workers. And quite frankly, it's a shame, but they pay these hired workers more than the council workers. Okay? Not that the council don't do a good job, but the council capacity to actually employ persons to do the work that needs to be done is kind of limited. And I cannot blame the government for that because the government have no reason in financing the council. If you go in the law and if you go in the reality, the council is financed by the citizens. Okay. And we all know the citizens, some because of their situation and some just because of wanting to be a nuisance. There's saying they don't want to pay or they will pay when council do good work. But council cannot do good work if you don't pay. I mean, we're campaigning right now to be on the council, and some people advise you to talk about money. But it doesn't make sense to come with an illusion that we can get money to do nothing because there's no avenue. And if the government gives us money, as I said before, it comes with instructions.
How much money do you get as a council in Roseau? Just the voluntary thing.
Oh, it's voluntary?
Yes, of course. I used to get a 150.
Well, a stipend of 300.
A lot of that used to go back straight to the community.
A stipend of 300. Well, as myself, when I do work in the community, as I do a lot of work, fix road, clean drain, throw garbage for people. So the money I really make goes right back into the community.
How much the mayor gets?
The mayor gets $600 as a stipend, and then she has traveling allowance and food allowance and things. So it comes around $1,400.
Okay. Now, give us your symbol as we kind of wrap up this. I'm getting a lot of phone calls saying you guys as a team, you're phenomenal. So there are people supporting you guys at this time. So give me a symbol as we go forward.
Sherman Boston, Ward 4, as I said before, Fonkole, Yampis, Stock Farm, Tarish Pit, Gutter Village, Goodwill and Pottersville. Fly high with the bird. Put Sherman Boston, and we're going to fly. We're going to soar high. We're going to go above the radar. We're going to go above everything, above all odds, and we're going to just repair what that needs to be repaired.
Okay, my brother. Yes.
Jason John Baptist, representing Ward 2, Silver Lake, Bath Estate, Roseau MO1, MO2, MO3, MO5, and MO6. The voting areas for Silver Lake and Bath Estate would be at the Calypso House on Monday. MO1 and MO2 at the Roseau City Council office. MO3 and 5 will be MO3 at the Methodist, and MO5 and 6 is at the stadium.
Okay. Young lady?
Calypso House is for Silver Lake and Bath.
Christina Sobers, the bicycle, I'm sorry. Goodwill, Santa Roma, and Louisville.
Louisville. Tola?
Yeah.
You said the bicycle?
Yes.
How about you two?
Okay, Ward 1. My symbol will be the tree, representing Citronne, Fortney, Newton, Kinsale, High Street, parts of Bath Road, parts of Virgin Lane, and Turkey Lane. And always remember, my people, we're looking forward for all you to give us the support on that day, which is the 23rd of this month, because we need to make a difference. We need to see something different. Like the caller was saying, you never see nobody passing goodwill. Well, right now, if you vote for that team, I think you can see a difference, brother. And you will see a difference. And the tree is the symbol, as I said already, Maggie. The tree is about greenery and growth.
Okay.
My name is Kashmir Richards again. I represent Ward 1, well, potentially to represent Ward 1, Citronne, Fortney, Kingshill, Newton, Virgin Lane, Bath Road, some of Bath Road, and High Street. And yes, I would like to tell the people up there to just support us at the present moment. Even if we are unable to come to your door at the present moment, given the limited time, if you want to make a difference, if you want to make a change, if you want to change the direction that we as a people going, if you want to send a message to our society in general as to what direction we as a people, what we want, do we want to go down the same status quo of sufferation, or we want a new trajectory of hope? Support me in the support us in the upcoming election. Again, Kashmir Richards. My symbol is the bicycle.
Bicycle. Yes. And finally.
Yes, Dunstan Peters, Ward 2, Roseau, Bath Estate, Silver Lake, and my symbol is the boat.
Okay.
We're sailing on the boat, and just remind the people that
where are you sailing to?
We're selling all over. And just to one thing that I is a new thing I learned myself, that you can vote 2 people. Okay. You have 2 votes. So that's an important thing to make people know. Because some people are thinking, who I can vote about? You're on your partner. I put myself my partner. You can vote 2 people. So myself and Jason John Baptist, the bird and the boat, we're in the same ward. Yeah. So check us out.
And Matt, I want to emphasize on something, because a person asking me, is it a separate registration to vote for City Council? And I would answer no. Once you are registered to vote in Dominica elections within the bounds of the municipality, you are eligible to vote. And secondly, the confirmation process doesn't affect your coming out to vote. If you haven't been confirmed, that doesn't mean nothing. Still come out to vote. Don't ask yourself the question about I haven't been confirmed if I'll be able to vote, allowed to vote. Yes, you can vote. Once you are registered to vote in Dominica and you have voted in an election in Dominica, you are eligible. And finally, integrity is a thing you have to look forward to, because as a councillor of the city council, your signature going to be trusted by a lot of the institutions, the banks, the utility companies. But one thing I want to stress upon, one of the things, the requirements for you to be a candidate in this upcoming election, city council election, you have to be resident within the bounds of the municipality. Despite where you are registered to vote, but you have to be living within the municipality for a period of 6 months and no less. So if you're going to vote, even if these are candidates of your choice, and you know the person doesn't live in the municipality, understand what you're doing. You are encouraging somebody to. Okay, let's see. Section 4 of the Act of the Council.
Right.
Okay, Section 4C. No person shall be qualified to be elected as a member of the council unless he is resident in the city and has been so resident for a period of 6 months or not less than 6 months immediately prior to the date of nomination. So integrity, you're going to need somebody to sign up on documents for you. I one of the key functions of a councillor.
Right.
And then if you know the person begin their whole candidacy with a lie, understand where we're heading. Okay? Because then if people start the candidacy with lies, why should the institution trust their signatures when they come to say, yes, I know Mr. Matt is living in Goodwood for this amount of time, any courtesy extended to him will be greatly appreciated, and signed Councillor Shaman Boston, and I live in Trafalgar. It doesn't work out. So integrity is one of the key things on selecting a candidate of your choice, because the integrity goes further, much more than their integrity, because it have to roll up when they come to assist you in your endeavors. And that is one of the key functions of the council.
All right, gentlemen, it was a pleasure. I'll leave you with Dice. Time for change. All right, let's go. And of course, a lady, the champion lady among them too. Thank you.
Comes with the rising sun. If you don't ride that way sunshine, you go. And leaders should pay attention to this fundamental principle. Is only the truth that always remains unchanged. If you live by example, you can change the people. If not, people will change and stop following you. There's always another aspiring leader waiting to take over. And do not let down as he change coming for sure. It's not down that the unemployed people run the corner. Productive of what their citizens are trying to achieve. When one sector is in and the other judges spreading up and leaving. Whoa, it's nothing strange. It's like Mama,